What's up, guys? Tim Little, Matt Allen. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin, and welcome back to another holiday buyer's guide video for you. Today in the series, we're covering rod and reel combos for $300.
$300 combos are that magical line where you start crossing over into higher end gear. You're talking about $100, $150 on the rod, $150 on the reel, give or take. Some of these legitimately make the budget. A few of them break the budget. But there's more than one way to do that. You can up the rod, drop the reel, and vice versa, depending on the situation. But that $300 mark, I mean, you're seeing huge leaps in terms of sensitivity, huge leaps in terms of the components inside of the reels. There's a major line in the sand here. I mean, legitimately, there were at 100 and 200 too.
Right.
But there's another significant step as we move to those $300 rods and reels. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Am I up first?
Yep.
All right. First one. This legitimately makes the $300 mark. Now, we did time this video with Tackle Warehouse's rod sale, and you can still get them in time for Christmas. So, first one up from 13 Fishing. This is their Meta line of rods. The Meta spinning rods are an awesome line. They are very, very light, and they're right at that $150 mark. Very, very comfortable to fish with. I've been very impressed. And because of the price point, I was actually able to take a step up in the reel. So this is the Axum Competition, the Axum Comp. It's got 13's competition drag in it. Super buttery smooth drag system in this thing. If you remember from our reel videos, it was a long time ago, right? That's where we started the Buyer's Guide series. That second video, we covered spinning reels by themselves. And most of that video was Shimano and Daiwa. I mean, they own that spinning reel market. They really do. But 13 is making huge leaps and bounds, particularly with those competition drags. And the Axum Comp is the higher end of their two comp drag reels. That's a great combo.
All right, next up, we got the St. Croix Mojo Bass Trigon. This is a completely redesigned line, the Mojo Bass. It's been a staple in St. Croix's lineup for years. This year, they completely redesigned it. Got SC3 carbon blanks. Got a completely redesigned handle system. The cork on here, it's
wild.
It's almost like a triangle shaped, but it fits really, really good in the hand. All you guys that have fished St. Croix rides before know that you have a lot of rod actions to choose from. I think there's 6 spinning models in this lineup, and I went ahead and paired that up with the Shimano Mirabel. This rod is, I think it's like right at 170-ish, 190. I can't remember exactly, but we went a step down in reel just to get in that price point. Yep. But the Mirabel, it's not really a step down. This reel is buttery smooth. You've seen it in some of our most recent buyer's guides. Buttery smooth, great drag system, and ultra light. So paired up with that Mojo Bass, that's a killer combo.
That Trigon handle, the first wind that we got that St. Croix was going to a triangle shaped handle, you're like,
what? Yeah.
What are those guys doing? But they had all this
data,
technology and data behind it on human hand shapes. And supposedly the vast majority of people benefited from a triangle handle. And I have to say, the first time I picked one up, I was like,
makes sense.
I'm in that majority. It totally fits. They are super comfortable. It fills your hand more completely than a traditional round handle. Jumping up from there, we're moving up a little bit in price point now. Kind of breaking out of our category a little bit, but not too bad. Not as bad as normal. Going to Halo. Halo, we're jumping up to the KS2 Elite line of rods. The KS2s are, they're a line that I have really enjoyed fishing with. You guys through the years might remember me talking about how insanely light the tips are. I don't know if you guys can see how thin this is or not. That blank is so thin. From the first day I ever picked one up, I looked at the tip and was like, oh, I'm going to break that. It's been years. I've never had an issue. They're super durable, but they're insanely light in the tip. And that allows me to line watch like nothing else. Phenomenal rods. And then that's paired up to a Daiwa Pro Scion. That Pro Scion is awesome. You've got an air bail on there, an air rotor on there, just cutting weight. It's a very, very lightweight reel paired up to a super fun rod. That is a great combo, and one that we don't talk about all that often. So if you're looking to try something different, you want to branch out this year, that is a really interesting direction to go. You'll be amazed how light the tips on those rods are.
All right, next up in the lineup is going to be the Shimano Curado line. It's got that high power X technology. It's got a CI4 Plus reel seat and Fuji guides. Really high-end technology on this rod. Again, you're getting a lineup that you can basically rig your entire lineup, all of your technique-specific rods you need. This Curado, super lightweight, super sensitive, but again, if you're one of those guys that wants to run an entire line of rods for everything in the boat, the Curado lineup will cover everything. And then I paired that up with the Shimano Ultegra. This is a workhorse. A little bit heavier than like the Mirvell, like we talked about earlier, but it's a smooth drag. You don't have to worry about burning this reel up. You can power fish with it if you need to. You can multi-species fish with it, but paired up on this Curado, they balance each other out well, and this is a really good combo to go with.
All right, with that, we're wrapping up spinning. We're switching over to casting. We will remind you that the purpose of these buyer's guides is to help you make educated decisions. It's no mistake that we're doing it while Tackle Warehouse has a sale on their rods. It's also not a mistake that we're doing it right before Christmas. This is to help you make educated decisions. It's also to help your loved ones make decisions as they're doing some of that last minute shopping for you. In the video description below this video, we've linked everything that we've talked about and are going to talk about in the order that we discuss them. And with each one, we're giving you our favorite models for each. It may not be the model that, you're looking for a swim bait rod. That may not be the one that we recommended, but we're recommending our favorites, the standouts from each line to give you a great starting point or to help your loved one make a great choice for you. We know that it's hard when you're investing this kind of money into a rod or a reel, especially blind. It really helps to have some guidance from somebody who's put a lot of time into them, and that's why we're doing this. So all of that is down in the video description there. All right, jumping into the casting rods. First one up from Cashion is their Core line of rods. The Core is where Cashion makes that huge push into sensitivity. We keep talking sensitivity, durability.
Yeah.
They've got a coating on that rod specifically to make it more durable, but a very high-end blank. This is where you see them go to that carbon fiber grip. So you have perfect transmission of anything coming down that blank. You're feeling it in the hand. Now, to make price point, we went to the SLX XT. The XT has that outside control, which is a step up from the SLX-A. But that is allowing us to stay in the price point. The Core rods, they're American-made, phenomenal rods. Don't quote me, but I think it's a 3-year warranty on these. And again, we'll link all the details in the description for you, but a great option.
Next up, we have the Shimano Intenza rod paired up with a Shimano SLX MGL 70. Now, we talked about this rod in yesterday's video. It's a great rod. It's a step. I went a price point down from the Curado to be able to get this reel in there because that's a step up. This reel is sweet. But again, that Intenza lineup is a technique-specific lineup. It's PowerX technology. It's got great sensitivity, a lot of good actions, and you can see versus the Curado, they went to the cork handle. So if you guys like cork handles, that Intenza lineup is a really good lineup. This rod is really, really light. More importantly, this is the first time this reel has made it in this year's buyer's guide.
Yep.
The SLX MGL 70. Anytime you put an MGL spool into a reel, it just makes it that much better. Matt and I were out fishing recently, and he was throwing this reel, and I was throwing a higher priced reel, and he was out casting me, and it's because of that Magnum Light spool. But having the outside adjustments, you can really tweak this reel. It's a universal reel. You could finesse fish on it, you can do light flipping and pitching on it, and then you can send a lipless a long ways, right? And what he was doing the other day. It's buttery smooth. Even though it's in that SLX lineup, it plays with the big dogs up there in those higher price points. So if you guys aren't familiar with that SLX MGL 70, this reel is killer. Again, it's that 70 size, so it's smaller in the hand. Again, paired up with that Intenza, a little bit lighter rod. This is a really light combo, really sensitive combo, and you can cast a mile with that guy.
All right, next up, actually, let me back up. That was a perfect example of moving up the rod or the reel, right? Most of the time, you spend the money and you bump that rod up. Usually you want more sensitivity, but power fishing, it's all about reaching the fish. That MGL spool is such a prime example of spending a little more on that reel, being able to send that thing off the horizon. We fish a lot of shallow flats, and we can only take the boat so far. Going to that MGL spool lets us tangibly reach fish. It doesn't matter how high end the rod is. If you can't get to the fish, you're not getting bit, and that's it. So sometimes it pays to move one up versus the other. It just depends on technique. All right, from there, we're moving on up again. Switching over to Daiwa here. This is the Daiwa Tatula line of rods. And the Tatula line, I mean, we keep talking about how you can do everything with one line, but truly, the lines are getting so broad at this point. The number, I don't even know how many rods are in this line. It's insane. It's broken up into different categories. There are so many of them. Truly, you could do everything that you will ever do on a bass boat in that one line of rods. Paired up to that Tatula CT, it is super comfortable in the hand. Also, you've got an upgraded warranty on this one as well. Full cork grips. I personally love fishing full cork handles. Sometimes I fish split, sometimes I fish full, but like techniques like frogging, cranking, things where that rod is up against your side a lot, that full cork handle is super comfortable day after day after day. And I personally really enjoy those full grip rods.
Next up, another rod by St. Croix. This is the Victory lineup. Now, he talked about the rod lines being so broad. I don't know that you can get more broad than the Victory
I don't know if you can.
There are so many technique-specific rods in this lineup. You got everything from hair jig rods all the way up to swim bait rods, everything in between. Fuji guides, Fuji reel seat. Check this out. A limited 15-year warranty on this guy right here. Made in the United States. So you guys that are familiar with St. Croix love their rods. They've went above and beyond the last few years with the Bass X, the Mojo, the Victory lineup. Again, those technique specific. You can go and you can outfit your whole boat in all of the same line. Like I said, hair jigs to swim baits, you can get them in the Victory lineup, and then backed with that warranty. And I went ahead and paired that up. This is the Modus SZ2 by 13 Fishing. What you need to know about this reel, it's got corrosion resistant bearings in it. It's got 18 pounds of drag. You can see we got straight braid on there. So if you're a guy that loves flipping and pitching or throwing a frog, this reel has a ton of power, and you can really set the hook and get those fish out of the deep vegetation. So again, 7.4 heavy is a great rod paired up with that guy right there. Awesome warranty, awesome power, really cool combo.
All right, last but certainly not least, I always enjoy when we get to this part of the buyer's guides. We finally hit that mark where Megabass comes into play. Megabass does not make budget rods. That's not their world. They make niche product. They make enthusiast product. They make high-end product. And this is where we cross that line And the first of the Megabasses comes into play. This is the Megabass Levante line of rods. This specific one is the Braillist, one of my all-time favorite jig rods. You guys know, if you've been following the guides, it's also the rod that I use when we're throwing chatterbaits in super heavy cover. Now, pairing that up, this is from 13 Fishing, the Concept A2. The Concept, we use that word workhorse, bulletproof. I mean, that's what it is. What Curado is to Shimano, what Tatula is to Daiwa, that's what the A2 is for 13 Fishing. It is that core workhorse, do all, the reel that you can always gamble on. Such a solid reel. Now back to the Levantes. That Braillist is an amazing model. The Flatside Special is another one. That is one of my all-time favorite square bill rods that I've ever used at any price point. And there are a bunch of models like that in that lineup. Very specific models for very specific jobs, and they're amazing. So again, we'll link all of those different things in the description. We'll give you some of those favorite models for each one of these as well.
Yeah, we talked about how broad these lineups are, and we'll go through in each of these lineups and pick the key rods that we love out of each lineup and link those down below, paired up with the right reel and all the gear. Yeah, it's getting fun, guys.
Oh yeah. We've got, we're still going 7 days a week. So tomorrow we're jumping over the $400 mark because we're running out of days where you can still get your rod before Christmas. So we're jumping past 400 this year. We had to do it. Tomorrow will be $500 rod and reel combos. Then the next day will be that ultra high-end stuff, the enthusiast stuff, those crazy high-end fun combos, and that will be where we wrap up the buyer's guides. Hopefully you've enjoyed it up to this point. We're looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. If you did enjoy it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.